Joshua Klein, who's a friend of the show and a smart guy and knows a lot about what's happening in that region. So, Josh, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's
So,
great to see you, Todd.
yeah, you too. So, we've talked and had a lot of different views on what's going on in the Middle East. And I know you talked to some people in the Trump administration. What's going on inside? I mean, whatever you could say as far as how they're viewing this whole situation with Gaza, with Iran, all of it.
I mean, the Trump, as he came in on day one on
Mm-hmm.
his inaugural speech, he wanted to be remembered, he said, as a peacemaker, one,
Mm-hmm.
not starting wars, ending
Mm-hmm.
wars.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing this not just in the Middle East, throughout the world, but again,
Yeah.
specifically in the Middle East, you're literally seeing a whole 180. And this time you're also seeing a kind of different dynamic at play also. When Obama originally created the JCPOA in 2018, in 2015, he completely left Israel out of the negotiations. He left the
Mm-hmm.
Arab world out of the negotiations. This time around, interestingly enough, I mean, Israel is definitely very nervous about
Mm-hmm.
the talks that are going on, but they're up to date. There was a
Mm-hmm.
call this week between the Israeli Prime Minister and President Trump. They both said they're on the same exact page. He's also talking with the leader of Saudi Arabia. Leaders from Saudi Arabia were in the White House this week. In fact, he's going to Saudi Arabia after,
Yeah.
it's the first international trip after, going to the Pope's funeral. So the region is it's kind of a different dynamic. And then we can get into Iran's situation itself that is also very different than it was in 2015 and how this is kind of all playing out.
So it looks like Trump is looking to set some kind of deal that gives them a civilian nuclear capability without them being able to process into a bomb. Is that kind of how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going every which way to try and
Mm-hmm.
avoid military action.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically, I mean, Iran has come out and declared that's their red line, which is fine. I mean, literally, if it's other nations do have peaceful nuclear reactors,
Mm-hmm.
actually, Saudi Arabia is about to get one from America, which
Mm-hmm.
has kind of gone under the radar in the past couple of weeks. But I mean, if it is possible to actually reach that kind of deal. I wouldn't call it a Libya style deal because there would be nothing at that point. But if it was literally up to that point, I think actually this can go down as historic. I mean, and this is
Yeah.
something that I think Trump really, really wants.
And then when you get that done, then I mean, look at the economics. I mean, where do you see the Middle East go? I mean, it could explode economically if you solve this issue. Am I right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, the entire Middle East would literally explode. I mean, you would probably
Mm,
literally interview, I think, came out today with Trump, with Time Magazine, talking about Saudi Arabia on the cusp of possibly making a deal with Israel to become part of the Abraham Accords.
mm,
So, I mean, we already saw this process kind of unplay during the first 4 years of the Trump administration, where things that nobody ever imagined, peace between the UAE, Bahrain,
mhm.
Morocco, and Israel. So yeah, I mean, the region is literally ready and wants to explode. And if this were to happen, the only thing standing in that way is Iran and its nuclear activities. So if this were to somehow be negotiated, then this would be amazing. I mean, somewhat to a degree for the Iranian people, which I think is kind of being left out of this discussion a little bit,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
But yeah, for the overall region, it would definitely be a huge plus if this can be done without military action.
Well, let me ask you this: is Netanyahu on board with that? I mean, he would he be disappointed if we didn't attack Iran or joint mission against with Israel and U.S. forces?
I mean, his ultimate goal is to say, as long as there is no Iran does not pose a nuclear, threat to Israel or the world,
Hmm.
he's fine with how you get to that end. So it's not like he's, obsessed on the means of attacking Iran. I mean, he said straight up, if Iran and America can reach an agreement where they're
Hmm.
not a nuclear threat, then that would be great. But they're definitely, I will not lie to you, behind the scenes, and it's public reporting just came out yesterday and today. Israel
Hmm.
is definitely very nervous about these negotiations,
Yeah.
um, but rightfully so. I mean, this has been, it's an existential issue for them, and they really want to make sure that this is not 99.9%, but 100%
Right.
verified, complete dismantlement of the program. And we've seen some unfortunate, I mean, I wouldn't call it unfortunate. We've seen some conflicting statements from members of the Trump administration
Hmm.
of that, of it being a complete, dismantlement or more of a verification, Obama light, kind of deal. So, But I think Trump came out even today and yesterday and reiterated. He's talking about fully making sure that there is no nuclear program, and if not, then he said he's willing to go to option B. He'd rather not
Yeah,
go.
he did say that. I mean, and a lot of this is Trumpism, right? I mean, it's the art of the deal. It's his style, throwing out a lot of different things and see what sticks. Staying on Netanyahu, what's going on with Qatar Gate inside Israel? Is that a thing, or is it not, or is it going to go away?
I mean, there is to talk about deep states. My God, I
Mhm.
mean, think of it. America thinks it has it bad, which it does. Israel has such a deep state on so many.
Mm.
It's literally insane if people understood the way that the Israeli system is.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I actually personally know. Unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, I know these people, but the unfortunate situation they're in. This is like persecution on the Trump type of level that we've
Hmm.
seen in America. Just complete lawfare that would never go on if it was any other leader than him. So, I mean, I'd like to say that yes, this would go away and it should go away. I mean, but given the way that the kind of literally that I wouldn't even call it a deep state. It's literally the Israeli system is set up for
Mhm.
any strong right wing leader. They come and railroad them, destroy any members of their administration. So I personally know some of these players, and it's literally a joke. It's something that I'm not going to get into all the details because it's going to
Right.
take a while, but it's something in America that would be seen as wow. I mean, persecution, lawfare beyond belief. So, but they're doing this because it's hindering him and Netanyahu and his ability to really lead the country in a
Mhm.
very strong way. The stronger he usually gets, the more opposition is thrown at his way. So I guess on the one hand, it's a good sign, but on the other hand, it's definitely negative that the system is the way it is.
Well, there's a lot of stress over the hostages. How do you see that playing out? I mean, obviously, Israel wants to remove Hamas from Gaza, at least in the influence, but there's a big segment of the population that wants to focus on the hostages. I mean, where do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, so right now they're down to, I mean, there's 24 about assessed living hostages. They're all
Hmm.
about, males under the age of 35. And then the rest, so in total, there's 59. And then the other 34 are confirmed, unfortunately, dead bodies,
Hmm.
which is kind of a sadistic thing. I mean, my God, who holds on to civilian dead bodies
Yeah,
easily?
I've always wondered about that. How do they keep bodies for like years? Do they don't freeze them? So what do they just decay and they bring back what's
Oh,
left?
it's disgusting. I mean,
Yeah,
I've read some of these stories of how they found the bodies. Yeah, I mean, some of them are just literally left in tunnels, and
yeah.
yeah, they're found decayed.
Hmm.
Some of them they actually bury in to make
Hmm.
it harder for Israel to find. They'll bury it in like huge graveyards with other bodies, Palestinian
Hmm.
bodies. Um, so, I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
how this plays out. I mean, actually, Bibi, the Prime Minister of Israel, gave a huge speech on Saturday night or Sunday night in Israel.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Saying that again, the priority is the dismantlement of Hamas. He
Hmm.
actually kind of hinted at, or was pretty direct over the return of the remaining hostages at this point.
Hmm.
I mean, they've bent over every which way backwards to try and make a deal with Hamas, literally give them golden parachutes to literally leave the country with millions of dollars, be millionaires, live in Qatar for the rest of their lives, but they're not there at that point. So the
Hmm.
only other option Israel is left with is continued military operations. I mean, this whole thing can be over with. Again, people think Israel does not want to be in Gaza. Trust me, I'm telling you, they do not want to be in Gaza. The soldiers don't want to be in Gaza. They're exhausted at this point, which is kind of an issue,
Hmm.
especially now if they're going to have to start ramping it up. But yeah, I mean, I think that Israel, as now it became public, there were plans that Israel and America were on the cusp of actually about to attack Iran in the beginning
Hmm.
of this coming month, May. I think so. their military posture was kind of adjusted for that kind of scenario in the next couple of weeks. But and it's still actually on very high alert. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's expensive and it's stressful and it's it uses a lot of resources to keep
oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, people don't understand. Yeah, it's you have to be on the ready to what it means to be on the ready 24/7, and especially Air Force resources are usually
yeah,
one of the most expensive to keep
yeah,
on the ready on that
yeah.
and on the scale that it needs to be on.
To keep
It's
those planes ready to roll is a big deal. I read a fact that only 25% of the tunnels in Gaza were destroyed. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but then again, keep in mind that there's about I think that they said there's close to 3,000 miles of tunnels
Mhm,
underground, and Gaza, keep in mind, is 36 square miles in total, the entire
mhm.
area. I mean, it's bigger than the entire, the London Metro, the New York Metro. So yeah, I mean, it is about 25%. It is very difficult to get rid of tunnels. I don't
Yeah,
know if you've ever had John Spencer on. He's talked about this. He's a specialist in urban warfare and these types of things. Really, how difficult it is to actually destroy that level and amount of tunnels. So
yeah,
25% is not a lot, but it is a lot in the sense of what it takes to destroy these tunnels. And that 25% also is like more important attack tunnels, things that were going more
yeah,
from
along
the
the
Gaza
border,
Strip
that kind of
to
stuff, yeah.
Israel and yeah, along Egypt. So yeah, there's still a lot, but I would say it's very dangerous still for soldiers operating in the area, but it's more of a threat within Gaza itself than
Yeah.
to leading to Israel or Egypt, to the bordering areas.
What about Syria? How does Israel see the situation in Syria now? I mean, I'm conflicted. There was some talk that they were trying to get rid of Assad or involved in that effort, and now they're worried about the Islamic Jihadi, face of what the regime. What do you think?
I mean, actually, a lot of people don't understand. So, actually, Turkey was really a major player in
Yeah.
the actual fall of it. This guy Ahmed al-Shara, the one who's
Hmm.
now the reformed member who was part of Al Qaeda, now he's wearing,
Well, he got
suit
a suit and a
tie.
haircut, so he's good.
Yeah, so Israel is usually very cautious with these types of, sudden makeovers of people.
Hmm.
But American diplomats were over to there, I think yesterday, meeting with them. So Israel is definitely very cautious about it. And again, Turkey is the biggest problem right now for Israel, actually, in Syria. So Syria has, first of all, they want to get rid of the Kurdish
Hmm.
region. They want to deal with that. They also have a very large population of Syrian refugees from the first the Syrian Revolution, if you want to call that. It wasn't really a
Hmm.
revolution in 2011, 2012. I believe there's over 3 million of them or plus living in Syria, which Turkey. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Turkey would really want to get them back into Syria. So, but Israel's very nervous at the same time. Turkey was about to entrench itself in military bases, so Israel kind of bombed that to make sure that Turkey couldn't be situated there. So it's a very there's a lot of moving parts in the region right now, and yeah, in Syria itself. So, I mean, we'll see how this guy plays out. I mean, so far, I mean, surprisingly enough, I mean, since the fall of Assad, I mean, there was some killings, very disgusting killings of Alawites
And
by
Christians.
Shiites,
Yeah.
yeah, and Christians, which really
Hmm.
does not get the attention that it should. I mean,
Yeah.
slaughter. I mean, it's not. You use the term killing as if it's nothing. I mean, it's really
No, it was brutal killings.
brutal slaughters, cuttings of throats,
Yeah.
young children.
Yeah.
So the fact that that already went on is kind of a sign that you got to really be on edge for a fellow like this that used
Right.
to wear a keffiyeh and the AK-47 and now has a pen and a suit. But it has been somewhat stable. So we'll see how it continues. But it's something to keep your eye on.
Yeah, that was the T4 air base, I think, that Israel
Yeah,
bombed, right?
exactly. The
In
T4.
Western Syria.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question. Israel is a lot of the Israelis are Russian. They immigrated from Russia. It's kind of a schizophrenic relationship with Putin and Jerusalem. How do you see that interacting with like the Ukraine war and all this? I've always been fascinated of what influence that has on Israeli politics, or do you know?
I mean, the population itself. I mean, there were a lot of Russians that did come to Israel after the fall
Uh-huh.
of the Soviet Union.
Hmm.
Anyone that's officially Jewish, which has a Jewish grandfather,
Hmm.
they used actually the way that the Nazis considered a Jew. So if you're a quarter Jewish in any sense,
Hmm.
it's called the law of return. Anyone
Hmm.
is allowed to then get Israeli citizenship. So a lot of Russians took advantage of that. And
Hmm.
to leave the Soviet Union. But again, it's really not a significant number where they're politically a lot, creating
Right.
political noise. But so it's on a higher level of just real politics between Israel and Russia. Russia is obviously a huge intersection with Iran.
Hmm.
They have deals right now. They're supplying Iran with the Shahed drones that they're using
Right.
against the Ukrainians. Um, Originally, Israel really needed cooperation from Russia because they were really entrenched in Syria. So after the fall of Assad, and Russia has also, had to divide its attention with Ukraine. So right now, I mean, it's actually in a pretty decent place with them. So it's more just because of the situation at large, not so much because of the population of the Russian
Yeah.
Israelis
Okay.
itself. But which are interesting that a lot of people don't know about that there are a lot of Russian Israelis in
Yeah.
Israel.
Yeah.
Um,
So, last question, different topic. The news business is shifting radically. X is becoming very powerful, and publishers are feeling that impact. At Breitbart, what's happening there? Are you guys kind of adjusting to that at all, or do you know? I mean, I know you're not the main editor, but what do you see?
yeah, I mean, actually, thank God. Like right now, we're exploding. I mean,
Uh-huh.
our traffic is doing well. I mean, we're really very influential with the Trump administration. I mean, we put
Mm-hmm.
out articles. I mean, we like to say we don't report the news, we shape the news. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we literally do. To give you an
Mm-hmm.
example, a couple weeks ago, the ambassador to South Africa, he was giving a speech on Friday Live. We were just monitoring it. He called Trump, a white supremacist. He called all his leaders a bunch of lemmings. And we just literally just wrote word for word for what he said, and within an hour, and this obviously was not coordinated. Marco Rubio literally picked up that story on X. Talk about X. X has become the forum for delivering
Yeah.
news. He sent out a tweet to the ambassador to South Africa. He said, "You have till Friday. You're persona non grata. The
Yeah.
reason is, boom." He links to a Breitbart article. So yeah, I mean, we're growing, and we're definitely very influential. And yeah, X has definitely become I would say the communal area for the news space of where
Definitely.
it happens, and as explained in this situation, literally with that story and the Secretary of State using X to announce the ambassador to South Africa is no longer welcome in this country. So it kind of all intersects, I guess. I guess with that little story.
Josh, thanks for your time, man. And we still need to have coffee down in Florida. I'll ping you next time I'm coming
Yeah,
through your
yeah,
way.
yeah.
All
We
right.
keep missing each other. Looking forward. All right.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
All right. Ciao.